long-range missiles, pointing to the country's nuclear submarines stationed near Russia's coast. A day earlier, Russian President Vladimir Putin confirmed that the missile flew around 14,000 kilometers in its latest test, demonstrating the ability to bypass air and missile defense systems. Now for this discussion, we welcome Gilbert Doctorow. He's a Russian affairs expert, joins us live from St. Petersburg. Thank you very much, Gilbert, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now, can you tell us what's this updated, or why is Moscow announcing their updates in their military equipments?
I think that Moscow is today misunderstanding the whole point of deterrence. Deterrence consists of three components. The first is to have the wherewithal, to have the military equipment that enables you to defend yourself. The second is to make certain that your opponents or adversaries understand your willingness to use it. And third is to communicate this to the world and to your own population. On the last 2 points, Moscow is failing terribly. There is a significant question whether Mr. Putin is willing to use anything. He has the Burevestnik. It's more than a year ago it was tested, not just by flying across empty space, but actually carrying out a mission in Ukraine. But it hasn't been used since, although there's good reason for Mr. Putin to use it to demonstrate not just a demonstration of its prowess, but to actually accomplish something in ending the war. So the announcement about the Burevestnik shows that Moscow only is looking at the first of three components in deterrence, and it isn't enough. That is why Mr. Trump has correctly identified Russia as a paper tiger.
And Gilbert, building on that, do you think this is Russia has misinterpreted, or as you said that they have misinterpreted the situation? Why do you think so, and do you think this could lead to arms race again?
Well, Russia has already won the arms race. So, and Mr. Trump's announcement, which you have just relayed, that the United States is not going to invest in new long-range missiles because of their submarines, is an admission that they have lost the race for long-range missiles, and they can't catch up. So in that sense, we have a situation that's very hard for the broad public to understand. And the leaders of these countries are engaging in, well, the question that you posed, are there games being played? Yes, there are games being played with the public to disinform the public. And Mr. Trump's announcement is disinformation, and Mr. Putin's announcement is disinformation. That is very regrettable, and it's part of a much bigger picture where it's hard for analysts like myself, not to mention the layman, to understand what's going on.
And building on that, what do you think, what other message does these statements from Trump and Putin send to other nuclear and non-nuclear nations?
Well, we are speaking about a nuclear-capable Burevestnik. Burevestnik is the Russian word for the herald of a storm. So it announces a storm. It is unique. It has no similar weapon anywhere in the world. And what's unique about it is it's nuclear powered, and it can fly indefinitely. It can fly 14,000 kilometers. It can fly 100,000 kilometers. It can keep on flying until it's commanded to go down. So it is almost as good as a space-based weapon. In that sense, it is just on the border between what is accepted conventionally and not for the use of outer space. It is not outer space, it is inner space, but it is being used like outer space in the sense that it is flying endlessly, and it goes down when and where the commands are given from Moscow. It is impossible to stop. And it's a very nice message. But if Russia is unwilling to use the weapons it has, then what difference does it make if it has a Burevestnik in production or not?
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Gilbert, for sharing that insight. Please stay with us as we stay on this topic now. Russian Energy Minister Sergei Civilkuk Kyiv has announced a target of 40 million tons of coal exports to India by 2035, as Russia seeks to skip around the highly sanctioned oil trade with India while maintaining volumes of energy exports to the South Asian country. At present, Russia is among the leading suppliers of coal to India. Russia has proposed that India conclude an intergovernmental agreement to support the delivery of Russian coking coal and to formalize export volumes of thermal coal as part of efforts to expand exports to the Indian market. This comes amid intense pressure from the United States on India to reduce energy imports from Russia, which it maintains is fueling Russia's war effort. The USA has levied 50% tariffs on Indian imports, among the highest such tariffs on any country in the world, with half of the rate levied as a penalty for high-volume energy trade with Russia. The Russian energy minister has also announced that in spite of America's aggressive posturing and the high tariffs imposed by the USA on India, Russia and India are currently developing an intergovernmental agreement aimed at expanding cooperation in the seaborne transportation of oil and petroleum products. Now we'll welcome back Gilbert Doctorow. He's a Russian affairs expert, joins us live from St. Petersburg. Thank you very much, Gilbert, for staying with us. Gilbert, how do you think U.S. might react to knowing that Russia and India are keeping their relations strong and even expanding coal trade? And do you think it could impact India's diplomatic relations with the United States?
Well, I think Washington will not be happy about this, but I think Washington will do nothing about it because it really isn't a big threat to what Mr. Trump has just established by imposing secondary tariffs for the oil trade. Let's face it, coal is not the same value as oil is. Russia is also one of the world's biggest exporters of natural gas. But the dollar value, or the euro value of those exports of gas are tiny compared to the value of oil. That's the reality of life. Coal exports, which are scheduled to ramp up to 2030, we're now in 2025. That's not going to solve the budget problem of Russia in the next 6 months when its sales volumes of oil decrease dramatically, now that both China and India have said that they will follow the U.S. Sanctions law and stop buying Russian oil. Well, what the Russian energy minister is doing is putting lipstick on a pig. This pig is the loss, a whole of maybe 10% of the Russian budget that has just been imposed on Russia by Mr. Trump, and which India and China say they agreed to. Now, the Chinese case is more problematic. China, after all, imports most of its oil from Russia by pipelines, and that is in no way going to be impacted by anything that Mr. Trump says or does. The Chinese are not going to watch their investment, since they are co-investors in those pipelines, go to waste simply to please the vanity of Mr. Trump. So the Chinese will keep on buying oil. The Indians do not have a pipeline supply from Russia yet. We'll see, and probably not in the near future. The transport logistics is very different. So India is subject directly to the hit from the United States on seaborne oil. I imagine that the discussions, state-to-state relations between India and China, India and Russia, over finding a solution on seaborne oil, will progress very quickly, but it will not happen from today to tomorrow. And so there is going to be a certain period when Russian exports of oil to India collapse. And that time starts today. The Minister of Energy in Russia can go out and make very nice pronouncements to keep the press busy, but he doesn't fool experts.
And Gilbert, should India prioritize energy security and economic interests over alignment with U.S. sanctions towards Russia?
Well, that's a financial and geopolitical calculus that only your prime minister and his government can do. sitting on the sidelines. We're not the ones to do that. He knows the reality of the economic impact of the sanctions generally, and he knows the economic impact of the loss of cheap Russian oil. India also is playing games. This visit to Saudi Arabia to partly replace Russian oil by more Saudi oil is based on the notion that, well, the Saudis are going to buy more Indian products, and therefore, even if the price is higher, the benefit to India still will be great. That's a very nice lipstick on a pig story also. The reality is that Saudis are not going to buy much from India because India doesn't have much to offer to the Saudis. The single biggest thing you export to the United States is software, IT. And although the Saudis are a modern country and have IT, there's nothing like volume the requirement for that type of assistance from India that the United States does. So what exactly is India going to export to Saudi Arabia? More mangoes? I don't think that's going to pay very far into gas exports. So I see that at the top, in the major countries, we are seeing deception for domestic consumption and for international consumption. And I think it's the obligation of experts or commentators like myself to point this out, that the leaders are intentionally deceiving the public.
Thank you very much, Gilbert, for sharing that insight. That was Gilbert Doctorow, joined us live from St. Petersburg. Thank you very much. Now we stay in the region.